Okay. Okay. Starting a few minutes early here. 2 minutes early. And setting up my windows. And the way the stream is now, I don't get to see what it looks like until I actually go live, which kind of really sucks because look how dark it is. I feel like it was sunny in the like cover shot. So I guess you've just got that helps a little bit. You've got a good view of my eye circles. That's a little better. That'll do. Okay, so if anybody is here, let me know. Send me a comment. And actually, I can see that nobody's here. Let me make sure this posted. Yeah. And this is the right time, right? 12 Central. We are here. Okay, hey, Sean, you made it. That's awesome. I'm still adjusting my windows here for a second. Yeah, I'm so glad you made it. It's great. It's always great to see a new person on here who has questions, especially. That's really great. Okay. Just going to get everything set up so I can see who's got live questions. And I have the pre-sent questions here. Sean, do you think you'll be able to stay for the whole thing, or will you have to leave before the end of the hour? Because I do want to answer some of your questions while you're here, if not all of them. Also, can you hear me okay? And right now it's like just you and me. So, how are things? Things are good here. It's a little dark. I think you might have maybe you missed me saying that I don't get to see what the image looks like until I'm actually live, which is kind of lame. But I didn't set up a light today because I thought it was going to be bright enough since it's noon. But anyway, yeah, Texas is good. It's a lot less hot, so I'm feeling. I mean, as everyone's heard me complain about it constantly, about how it's too hot here for me. So I'm really glad that it is now. I don't want to say winter. It's fall. It's for sure. It's fall here. And at times it is very wintry. It's kind of like going up and down, which is good. It's so much better than just being hot constantly and sweating. And I'm here in my PJs so I'm cozy and comfy, and extremely casual. And I got some coffee in this Voldemort mug. It's like one of those heat sensitive. I'll have to bring it another time when the coffee's actually really hot, because it's supposed to reveal something underneath the black part. The coffee has cooled off by now. So let's see, anybody else? We got one other person, it looks like. Oh, that's cool. The Marauders map one would be cool. Yeah, this was a Christmas gift from my mom. I guess I can just go ahead and tell you, even though it'd be better if you could see it. So it's got Voldemort on this side, and then on this side it says, "Oh, hey, Julian. Julian is here from San Antonio. Um, he who must not be named." And then when the coffee or beverage makes it hot, it shows that he's screaming Voldemort, which is like really doesn't make any sense that he would be screaming his own name. But it is pretty entertaining and funny. And it's fun to wash it too, because it like, while you're washing it, it gets cold and hot in spots, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty funny. I love it. It's like, doesn't make any sense at all. So it's great. Okay, well, we've got Julian's a Ravenclaw. That's awesome. I do love Harry Potter. It's so great. Okay, well, there's just the three of us, so I'm going to go ahead and get started because, well, I guess it is only 12:04. I did start a little bit early. But let me look at I've got a few little notes of things that I wanted to talk about. And now I'm just awkwardly pausing and debating whether I should start or not. Okay, we got 3 people now. Okay, well, I guess the first thing is not really super important anyway, because I was just going to mention the Smiths cover that I did this month. And because for the last couple months I've been doing the, like the one-on-one, inviting the person who requested the cover to the chat and then discussing the cover in the chat instead of doing a behind the scenes video. So this month for November, I did another behind the scenes video, which is, oh, hey, Greg! Greg requested the Smiths cover. That's so awesome. Hey, welcome. I'm sorry I didn't specifically notify you about the chat because I don't know. I feel like I can't remember if you've attended a lot of chats in the past. So anyway, welcome. And since you're here, that's amazing. You can tell us why I know you're a Smiths fan, as am I. And I'm curious why you chose That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore as your Smith song. Like, is it your favorite Smith song of all time? Or did you think it was, that it would be, another thing I like to know from patrons is whether you thought I would take it in a certain direction. And I don't think I did that with this one, but yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on the song and just anything, any anecdotes you have to say about that song in particular and how it has been part of your life. So yeah, I don't know if the rest of you had the chance to watch, either listen to the song or watch the behind the scenes or the commentary video that I made. But it was really, I'm assuming you guys know that the Smiths is one of my favorite bands of all time. So it was really fun to get to take apart a Smith song. And it was, I expected it to be, all their songs are unique. And I expected it to be that way, but it was just a lot of, even though I expected it to be different musically than most other things out there, when I approached each instrument, I was just baffled, and also my appreciation level increased for them because every piece of the music is so so interesting and so I can't tell if it's well thought out or if it just happens to be that each player has such a unique style that like magically works together. It's hard to say. And I have read some of their I have read a book, um, Morrissey and Marr, that was kind of like about them and their writing process, but I don't remember. Maybe Greg, maybe you know. Let's see what Greg says. He says, for those of you who are watching afterwards, Greg says, I've loved the song forever, but it seems super relevant today with LGBTQ plus issues. I felt like Morrissey's words were layered with multiple meanings, and Marr's guitars were amazing as usual. I do love that about Morrissey's lyrics, that they're like vague but not to where you can possibly get multiple meanings out of them, you know. I see what you're saying about that joke isn't funny anymore. Like just that line in itself is, if you apply it to today's society and the way things are now on social media, it's like a lot of things are not funny anymore. Uh, let's see. Also had no preconceived notions about how you'd cover it. It's just fun to hear other visions of songs. um, well, I'm glad you liked it. I really enjoyed doing it. It was so much fun. It was it was definitely a challenge, and I there were times for sure when I was like, is this really the direction I want to take it in? Because I made it up tempo and I kind of made it the style of a different type of Smith song. They have multiple styles going on um, across their catalog, but they have this sort of like upbeat style that they would do occasionally, and I redid the song like that. So it's interesting though about like the way you had the relevance on the lyrics, because for me, like I mentioned this in the video, but I this song is like my specific thoughts about this song or memories about this song is was listening to it on tour and just really being very entertained by Morrissey's seriousness and like his overly seriousness. Um, and That's one thing that I love about Morrissey is just that he his lyrics are, to me, um, I'm like, are you joking? Are you serious? Is it like, are you really that dramatic? And or is it an act, you know? And I think that's kind of one of the things that's great about Morrissey is that you can't really tell, you know, like he has such a strong persona that it's hard to know whether it's real or not. And I don't really care either way. Like if it's real, that's amazing. And if it's not real, that's also amazing. So that's one of the many reasons that I love Morrissey and the Smiths. Hey, welcome, Sam. I see that Sam is here from Dallas, Denton. Um, so let's see, it's 12:12. Um, yeah, Greg, if there's anything else that you want to say about the song, please feel free, and I will repeat it for our viewers. Otherwise, I think that's about it. If you haven't seen the behind the scenes video, go back and watch it if you're interested. And I get into more detail about how it was for me to cover this song. So another thing I wanted to tell you is that I have started doing a new schedule for Patreon that I think is going to be really, I think it's going to be awesome for me because, I've been doing this now for, I don't know, how many months? A year and how many? A year and 6, 7, 8 months? I don't know. But anyway, it's very time consuming, right? And I know that my main goal with all of this is to write an album, but I also have created all of these different projects that are Patreon related that I really love. Like, I do enjoy doing all of this stuff. So I'm at this point, I'm not really wanting to cut back on that. But I have figured out with that California trip that I did last month, um, I prepared for it in advance. Like, I worked basically for 2 weeks solid on all the Patreon stuff and had it ready so that when I was in California, the only thing I needed to do really was this live stream. And it was pretty awesome. And I think that it's going to work pretty well for me to do that for the last 2 weeks of each month to get ready for the next month. And then I will have the first 2 weeks of the month to work on songwriting, which I think is going to be a good time block for me. And I'm pretty excited about it. So if you see me, I don't know, there might be ways that you might be able to tell, like, oh, that's not a new, like, she didn't just film like a haircut, or if I changed, my street color or something, and then it's like I went back in time for a video or something. That's probably why. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And speaking of time passing, I'm going to be preparing the holiday cards soon, the holiday postcards. And if you are I can't remember now which instrument is a glockenspiel. No, if you are a rotary phone, yes, that is correct. If you're a rotary phone or up, then you'll be getting a holiday postcard. And if you've moved, I mean, I know there's only a few people watching this right now, but for those of you who are watching, if you have moved, I'll need your new address so that it gets to you. And if you're not, if you're in the bubbles category, you can upgrade just for one time to get the postcard if you would like. So that's kind of fun. I like being able to send you something, like an actual physical thing. I wish it was easier or more interesting. I don't know if it's so fun to get things in the mail. And I've always loved doing that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I hope to expand on that. Sam's asking if he needs to send a new address if it's updated in Patreon. Yeah, maybe message it to me, because I feel like I keep your info on my own spreadsheet, because the info in Patreon, it's like the way they have it organized is just not good at all. So yeah, just message it to me, and then I will update my spreadsheet. I'll send a message out to all patrons to send me your new address if you have one. What else? Another idea that I wanted to mention and / run by you guys is, I don't know, maybe it's too soon. Maybe it's not enough fanfare, me mentioning it here, but I guess that's what you get for being one of the few people to attend a live stream, or those of you who are watching it afterwards. I probably won't mention this again for a little while, but I am thinking about releasing to the public a collection of the covers that I've done so far. I looked on my distributor's website. I was just on there recently, and I saw a thing that says If you want to release covers, we take care of the royalties on that, because that's the main problem with releasing a cover, is just that it's not like, if I were to release a cover, it's not my song. So all of the, any, not that I make a lot of money off of songs, but any money that is made needs to go to the people who wrote the song and the original performers. So and it's a whole legal issue and blah, blah, blah. So I saw that on there, that they will release your covers and they take care of all of that. So I'm thinking about releasing it digitally, and then possibly, for patrons. I know one of my goal rewards is that I will do some hard copies of covers. So I don't know, that'll be involved somehow if I do this. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think that could be really cool and interesting, because I made the covers for you guys and not for the public. So they're definitely rough, it's definitely not like, I don't go into each cover thinking, okay, this is going to be for the masses. I think of it as, this is going to be for Greg and the rest of the patrons. So it's like, it's just so casual, which I think would be unlike any release I've ever done, obviously, but kind of cool in a way, like really different for me. I'm going to look and see what questions we've got going on here. Okay, a question from Sam. So yeah. Oh, Greg. Yeah, Greg has asked about the other survival guide songs that are not out yet, and or not out still. Like I never put the songs from Hot Lather Machine and Wildcat up online. And what I told Greg when he asked me about this was that I just don't know. I do want and need to do that, because it's dumb. Those songs just aren't being heard anywhere unless you have the 7-inch and have a record player and all that, or if you have the digital download that came with it. So, but you can't stream it anywhere. So I'm just trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to release that, because so there's the Walls and Symptoms, and then the bonus track, Escape Velocity, on Hot Lather Machine. And then Wildcat, there's the Prohibition is exactly the same on the full length as it is on that 7-inch. And then Shrouded in Steel is slightly different, because we redid the vocals for the full length. And then there's the bonus track of A Moment. So I'm just not sure. Should I release what do you call it? Should I put all of them together? Should I make it a 6-song EP, even though Shrouded and Prohibition are on the full length? Or should I omit those songs? Or should I just do Shrouded because it's a different vocal? I just don't know. It seems kind of redundant to release to re-release Prohibition, since it's exactly the same. Drink some water. My throat's starting to tickle. Adrian is here. Welcome, Adrian. That's awesome. So anyway, I do plan on releasing the 7 inches probably before the covers, because the covers I will need to get mastered so that they all sound like they're the same volume and the same levels, sort of. It won't change the mix at all. But yeah, I need to get them basically put into a collection, sort of, before I release those. So yeah, we'll see. I'll keep you posted on the 7-inch and on the covers collection. Julian is saying that when I'm done with the covers, I can have you guys vote on an exclusive cover just for you. You mean like out of the ones that I've done, or a new one? I guess that is a good question, whether you as patrons would feel, oh, a new one. Okay. Because, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't want to make anyone feel like, hey, I am a patron and that's, like I paid for those covers to be made and those are mine, and, feel like I'm just now throwing it all out for everyone else for free. But I do think it is kind of different, because they're not, everyone else is not part of this group. But if that would upset you, like, let me know. And I should probably check with everyone to see everyone whose covers are done, to see if you're okay with me releasing them. Although I would be bummed if you said no, because I did put a lot of work into each cover. And I think it would be pretty cool to release them. It would help me, because then I would have a new release, even though it's cover songs. But also I would, of course, be putting all of the patron names in the thank yous, and talking about how great you all are, and mentioning everyone who requested each specific cover. So yeah, Julian, if you have more thoughts about that, let me know. I don't want to ruin the exclusivity that we have here on Patreon, but I do sometimes, I feel like, like the videos or things that I make and create. Like sometimes I can go on SoundCloud and see when, how many people have listened or how many people have watched. You can too on YouTube. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I made a video and 2 people have watched it. And it took me like an entire day or however long to make it, which is fine. And I still love doing it, but sometimes I'm like, man, I wish there were more people watching this. So I think that is also part of the covers thing. Like I do kind of want, more people to be able to hear some of the stuff and see some of the stuff. Okay. So Sam is asking about the 2 7-inch vinyls at different speeds. I think one is 33 RPM and one is 45 RPM. I don't recall that. That kind of sucks if that is the case. The only thing I can think, if they are 2 different speeds, which seems weird to me, but is that maybe one was too much material. I know that with one speed you can fit more material. I think. Now I'm not totally sure. I'm gonna have to. If that's the case, well, yeah. Now I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna have to figure that out. And sorry, because that seems like a pain. I know that the record player that I have, you have to actually switch out the bands inside to switch the speed. So that really sucks. Yeah, you got me stumped on that one, Sam. Sorry, I don't have a good answer to your question that you've been wondering for a while. Okay, I'm going to read. Let's see what. So. Julian says, I was just thinking, like we all get a digital download that the public can't buy. So when you release the covers, you can mention Patreon and maybe get more people involved to sign up as well. That is brilliant. Now I understand. That's That's a really great idea. Yeah, I mean, there should be exclusives. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. That's a great thing to think about incorporating into, because it's just an idea right now. I mean, I've kind of started piecing together what I would need to do to get it done, but I need cover artwork and blah blah blah. So yeah, thank you for that idea, Julian. I love it. Oh, and speaking of covers, I have been doing that. This ties into one of Sean's questions. Sean asked about the Texases, which is the country cover band that I'm going to be playing a show with tomorrow night. Oh wait, let's see. Sam just Hot Leather's 45 and Wildcat is 33. Yeah, I think that is what it was. I think at 33 maybe you can fit more because I know those songs are longer. It might also have something to do with the quality of the playback. I know it does actually. As far as like if you shove more onto the vinyl, then the sound quality goes down. I wish I knew exactly. I wish I could just be like, oh yeah, it's this. But I haven't pressed a vinyl in a while, so I can't totally remember. But I do know that the less songs, like that's why people do double discs. If you get an album and you're like, at least this is how I feel. I have like the Lana Del Rey double disc for Ultraviolence, and I'm like, oh, now I have to keep changing the record. But I know, and then it's only got like 2 to 3 songs maybe on each side. So I know that it's like the more space you give the songs, and then you would make it. The thing I don't remember is which speed it is. That makes it higher quality. But you put less songs on the vinyl and change the speed of it, then it's more rich and it has a better sound. And there's also something about actually the limits of the vinyl because it's physically, only so big. So you can only put so much music on it. And you can adjust the amount based on the speed. So I think that's it. I think it's possible that the 45 is actually no, I should just stop talking about it now. Let's just claim it was an artistic decision. Yeah. Oh wow, triple disc. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I'm lazy. So I'm just like, double disc. I actually really, really hated double discs until I got that one. And I kind of refused to get them because I was like, that's so pretentious. But now I'm like, okay, I'll switch it. I will switch the record and I'll quit being a baby. Okay. Yeah, I do that sometimes too. I'll just listen to, but when it's only 2 songs, it does get kind of maybe too repetitive for me to listen to the same side of the record over and over again. And mine doesn't have automatic, so I still have to get up and move the needle anyway. So it's more just that I keep having to get up or stop whatever I'm doing to flip the record. Okay, so I was just about to get into Sean's question here. I pulled it up. How did this country music thing come up? Did you find them or did they find you? So yeah, I've been working on learning these cover songs to sing with the Texases, who are this country cover band based here in San Antonio, and they do mostly 90s and some 80s and 70s country covers, like top, hits. And there are a couple reasons why, excuse me. So the story is that before moving out here to San Antonio, my husband came out first to kind of check it out and check out his like job situation and stuff. And he has a friend who owns a venue here, and he went to a show, and it was the Texases. And at the time, they were kind of doing a regular. I don't know if it was weekly. I think it was every other week. They were playing at Paper Tiger, and he told me about this. While he was here, he's like, "Oh yeah, I went and saw this band. They're like a regular thing here at Paper Tiger, and it's cool. Like they're really good. They're just like a bunch of dudes. They look like they're probably also doing an indie rock thing or something else on the side. Like they seem, just the way that they look and everything, they look like I don't know. I guess they looked kind of like indie rockers to him." And he met them, and they seemed nice and whatever. And I thought, well, do they have a female singer? Like, do they have any female vocals going on? Because that seems like it would be really fun. And if they're regulars there, then it seems like that's pretty casual, and they might be open to having me come and sing some stuff. And if I'm going to move to Texas, maybe I should try doing some country just for fun. So that's basically what happened, is that I was interested, and then I went and saw them play a couple times, and they're really good. And it's funny because a lot of the songs I am super familiar with because of where I grew up in California. I grew up in a small town in agricultural Central California, and country was like the top music that was played. I hated it at the time. I hated it a lot, which is, what set me down my path of punk rock and everything that came after. But I certainly am familiar with all of that, all the Garth Brooks stuff, whatever was playing on the radio at that time in the 90s, in the early 90s was burned into my mind. So, and of course now I'm not so judgmental or hardcore about music. And even working on these songs, I'm like, wow, these are, there's a lot going on here. There's so many 3-part harmonies and just different kinds of tempos that you don't even notice unless you're taking a song apart. It's just like any of the other covers that I've been working on. It's really cool to kind of analyze someone else's work and then recreate it. And so yeah, I went to my first practice last night, and it was super fun, and I'm really excited. The show is tomorrow night. I'm going to practice again tonight, and then the show is tomorrow night. But so it's all kind of like happening pretty fast. Oh, I guess I didn't finish my story. That after I came to their show and saw them play, I just approached them. Somebody introduced me to them. A friend introduced me to them, and I said, "Hey, if you're ever interested in having any female vocals, like if you want to do any, female fronted acts as part of your show, I would love to audition," which they didn't end up making me do. I don't know if I think they probably checked out some of my other stuff and could tell that I can at least carry a tune. I may not have done country before, but I can sing. So we kind of went back and forth for a really long time. And things just never came together until not long ago. And I met with them and talked to them, and yeah, we decided to do it, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm feeling good about it, especially after practice last night. I think it's going to be super fun. I don't know where it's going to take me or how serious it will be in the future, but for now, it's just a fun like side thing, much like the jazz thing that I did before that I would like to continue doing. It's uh, it's really, it just feels really good to me to be able to branch out into something I've never done before. Since I've done my own stuff for so long, and which is also fun, but it's just different. And I don't foresee myself at any time soon becoming a country artist. As far as like my own music goes, that doesn't seem likely at all. Uh, and it's just kind of a really fun way to get to use my voice and perform, which is ultimately what I love doing. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. And it's like I've said before about the jazz thing, it's not really. I really don't see it taking away from Survival Guide at all, because it doesn't involve me songwriting, and it doesn't even involve me uh, like looking for shows, booking or promoting, or I mean, I'll post on my Instagram, but like it's not my band basically. So I'm kind of like, yeah, tell me when to be there, and I will sing. Tell me what songs to sing, tell me when to be there, and I will be there, and I will sing. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with all of that stuff. So yeah, let's see about the rest of the Q&As. Oh, Siavani is here. Yay! It's so great to have a diverse, spread out group of people here. We've got people from Texas and California and the East Coast, and Siavani is in Africa. So that's pretty awesome. I'm just scrolling over to, I'm just opening the camera page for no good reason at all, but my lighting's not great today. The way the chat is set up now, I can't see how it looks until I'm actually streaming live, which is I don't like that, but I'm dealing with it. Siavani has a question. Whenever you're ready, just type it out and I will get to it. Okay, so yeah, I'm starting on the rest of the questions. I've got some from Sean. I've got some from Adrian. If anyone else who's watching live has any questions, feel free to type them in, and I will keep an eye on this. I should probably refresh this Patreon page just to see if anyone's over here. And it doesn't look like it, which is good because it doesn't refresh on its own, so I can miss stuff. Okay, so Adrian's first question is, who are your favorite visual artists, classic or contemporary? If you're new to the chat, then you are not aware that Adrian has been sending groups of questions for me every month in advance, which is awesome, and I'm loving her question. She just asks great questions, and then Sean sent some in advance today too. So first, I'm going to drink some water because my mouth is drying out again. And by now, my coffee is completely cold. So I've been told that it's generic to love this painting, but I really love Starry Night by Van Gogh. I have ever since the first time I saw it at a young age. I just love night skies. And um, so that painting has just stuck with me over time. And I got to see it in person once when I was in New York, and I got to go to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, which I highly recommend if you are a Van Gogh fan at all, because it's so different from the what you see, printed on a postcard or any of that, reproductions. Um, because it's basically 3D, and the paint is just globbed on there so thick, and you would never guess that just from looking at a flat print of his artwork. So I was blown away by going to the museum, and I feel fortunate that I got to see all of that stuff. And it's interesting too, because like you see paintings where it's like this painting of flowers. Um, it's really pretty, like maybe some cherry blossoms or something like that. And then the plaque says, uh, "This painting was a gift from Van Gogh to his newly born niece," or something like that. It's like, this was just, he just painted this and gave it to his niece. And it's so cool to think um, about how art is like that. And it just can be so simple and, um, casual when it's created. And over time it becomes something very precious. It's like it's precious in one way at first, and then it becomes precious in another way as time passes. So I think that's really cool. And yes, people are agreeing that, yeah, seeing his stuff in person, it's so cool. Um, and I do love, so I love Van Gogh, but I also really love going to um, modern museums. I love Frida Kahlo. I love how creepy her stuff is. Uh, and I mean, her story is very sad, and it's fascinating to see it in painting form, in visual form. It's terrible and it's very scary and sad, but that's what I love about it. Um, and I love going to the Museum of Modern Art. Like any chance I get to go to a new Museum of Modern Art, I will go. I really recommend the one in San Francisco. It's super fun, and there's a lot of really cool, interesting stuff in there. Um, I just really love uh, when art is unexpected, like the way that artists put things together, which mostly I feel like happens at the modern art museums. And I can't think of any. I mean, I don't know any specific artists. I just know that I really enjoy experiencing it in that way. Um, and I just had another thought. Oh, I guess I guess in thinking about the modern art, the way that the museum is set up in San Francisco, or at least it used to be, they did a huge remodel a few years back, and I haven't been since then. But they had different mediums on each floor, and there's one floor that's just photography. And I remember one time I went, and it was all the photography was black and white crime scene photography from the 50s or 40s, I think, or maybe even the 30s. It might have been the 30s, like during Prohibition era, and it was really cool. And I love seeing a photography collection like that. Again, I can't name any names, but that's it. Those are my thoughts on art. Let's see what your thoughts are on art. Oh yeah. Sam is referring to my cover songs as art for a few people at first, and then the world gets to enjoy them later. If I release them, then the world gets to appreciate them too. Yeah, so I recommend that museum in San Francisco, and I've been to the one here in San Antonio too. It's pretty cool. It's not as it's not as stocked, I guess. It's not as big, but it is still really cool. I'm going to take question 2 from. Oh wait, there is one from Siavani before I do a Sean question again. Are there any unrecorded action design songs that made their way on Way to Go? Yes. Well, no, not Way to Go. Escape Velocity was an action design song that Jason and I turned into a survival guide song. So we did have one. What you're probably referring to, if you watched the Plinky videos, and how it's like how I describe how each band, I've taken songs that were unfinished or unrecorded from my previous band and released them in my current band. So yes, that Escape Velocity is one of those songs. Exactly. That's the only one though. But I was kind of thinking, because we Action Design had the song Northern Lights that we never recorded. And I've listened to it recently because one person requested that I make a lyric sheet of that. And I made the lyric sheet for it. So I listened to it, and it's like, it's a pretty good song. So that thought did cross my mind. Like, should I maybe use it as a survival guide song? But I don't know. I had other musicians with me in Action Design, and so I don't know. I'll think about it. Oh, so I just answered Sean's question without even knowing he asked the question. The Expert. Yeah, I forgot about that one. I guess that's only in demo version 2. Yeah, I totally forgot about that one. An unrecorded Action Design song. It's interesting that Jason and I took Escape Velocity, since that wasn't even, I don't think we even demoed it in Action Design, or we hadn't gotten that far into it. And then we had those other 2 that were already done. I don't remember if we ever played the Expert live. Northern Lights for sure. Yeah, Sean's asking for official lyrics for Patreon one day. For Northern Lights, what's funny is that I had to put question marks in it because I couldn't remember a big section of not a big section, but there were definitely pieces of the lyrics that I could not remember. And I went on Danny's video and listened to it over and over, and I found 2 different demo versions, but the demo versions are like, we put a microphone in a room while we're playing and practicing. So you can't really hear the vocals that well. So yeah, there's definitely some question marks on the actual lyric sheet, which I plan on posting some images of all those lyric sheets that I did. Probably in December. I think I'll post those as kind of like if anybody wants to become a drum pad and get a lyric sheet, then here's some, like, look at the examples of stuff that I've done in the past, because those are really fun. And I like how, most of them I like how they turned out. Some of them I'm like, that could have been better. But I'm not much of a graphic artist, so you get what you get. Okay, so another question from Sean. Oh, what's the best thing you've baked so far this fall? The answer is very easy, because I've only baked one thing so far, because it has not cooled off until recently. So I baked blonde brownies, which I guess most people call blondies. But it's my mom's recipe that she's been making for as long as I can remember. One of the easiest baked goods recipes, because you just make it, you melt butter in the pan, and you just make it all in the pot. Just stir it all with a spoon. You don't need to get out even a hand mixer or anything. And then you just pour it into a pan and sprinkle chocolate chips all over the top. I think that might be why she called them blonde brownies, because they are chocolate. But the base of it is more, there's no cocoa in the base of it. It's more like a chocolate. It's more like a brown sugar chocolate chip kind of cookie thing. It's really good. And I hadn't made it in like a decade, even though it's so easy. And I think maybe that's why. It's like it's such a family recipe and such a standard for my mom and for us, that I just kind of overlook it all the time. But I made it, and it was delicious, and it's all gone. Although I am starting to compile lists of what I do want to make for this holiday season, and I'm really excited. I'm really, really in baking mode now, but I just keep not having enough time to figure out. And then since it's holiday season too, I kind of start going, well, what should I make? Like, I need to make this, because this is the only time of year that, these flavors are not accepted, and I do believe that you can make, holiday cookies all year round. But I also feel like it is kind of more special to just have them within the small window, like chocolate peppermint or those kind of holiday flavors. It's kind of a challenge, and it keeps those flavors special, if that makes sense. I don't know if anyone agrees with that, but let's see. Yeah, Sam is saying that he wants blondies now, but finds a way to mess it up. It's so easy. It's really easy. If anybody wants it, I will post the recipe for that, because it is so easy. It's probably okay. Now Sam is saying that. Oh wait, blondies you can't bake? Well, maybe because they're blondies and not blonde brownies. Maybe you just need to try this recipe. Okay, cool. I will, Adrian said, post the recipe. So I will do that this afternoon. I will type it out for you guys, and I will post it. And yeah, I think the next thing I might make is maybe, there's so many good versions of a ginger molasses cookie, and I'm feeling like slightly overwhelmed by trying to decide which one to do. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a couple of different ones, and I have one cookbook that I really love all the recipes I've ever done out of it. And they have 2 different ginger molasses cookies in that book, but I already have 2 that I like. So I don't know. I'm stalled by indecisiveness of which one to make. Or should I make more? Oh, hey, John. John just arrived. Missed the first 55 minutes. But yeah, just in time for baking discussion. Well, okay, so what are my usuals, my go-tos? I have a cookbook, a recipe book from Baked, which is a bakery in New York, and that's what I was just referring to. Everything I've made from their cookbook is so good. And one of their cookies is this chocolate thumbprint cookie it's chocolate mint, and it's got a mint. So, thumbprint cookies are the ones where it's got, I don't actually use my thumb because it's not really the right shape, but it has a depression in the middle, and then there's jam or, whatever in the center, usually jam. But these thumbprint cookies have a white chocolate mint ganache and they are so good, so good. And so I'll definitely be making those. And I don't know if that recipe might be floating around online somewhere. I don't really want to start typing out all the recipes that I have because I have so many. But you know what? There is one that I know I can link to. That's because I found it online. It's this one of the ginger molasses recipes I was mentioning is, I think it's called like ginger, like it's called like sparkle chip or something. And it makes these mini, like little ginger cookies that also have um, a cut up chocolate bar in them. So it's like a ginger molasses chocolate, and I think it might have cardamom in it too. And it's rolled in turbinado sugar, like the bigger crunchy sugar. So it makes these little crunchy. I think it maybe is fresh ginger. I don't know. They're really good, and I haven't made those for a few years. So I think I'm going to make those this year, and I can link that one for sure. So I'll do that for you, John, if you're interested in that one. Um, a Cooking with M YouTube series. Yeah. Yeah. And Sam asks if there's an Agent M cook/bake book coming. That would be awesome. I would love to compile my favorite recipes somehow and release a book. I don't even know where to begin with that. So that probably won't happen anytime soon. But I do love the idea because I do love baking so much. Biscotti, fat or no fat? I tried a no fat biscotti and I was not impressed. Yeah, that's not surprising. I feel like it would be really hard to make any sort of cookie without, or at least any sort of cookie that tastes good without a butter, an oil, or like a shortening type thing. So I'm not surprised that the no fat biscotti was not impressive. That yeah. Yeah, I will link the recipe. I can link the recipe book, the baked one that I use. I got it as a gift. My youngest brother gave it to me as a gift because he also likes to bake. And it was an excellent gift. And they actually have multiple recipe books from that bakery. And I got to I had never heard of that bakery until he gave me the book. And then I got to go there with my friend Rasimi when we were in New York. And I'm hoping to return because it was so good. Everything. I highly recommend. Sean, since you live in New York, you really should go to Baked. I feel like maybe I told you that already. But yeah, go to any of the Baked locations and get something and eat it for me and for the rest of us patrons here, because it is so good. Now it's after 1. So it's been an hour, and there are still questions left from Sean and Adrian, but I think I will reserve them for next time. Although, real quick, I do want to answer this question from Sean that I just saw about his Dark Materials. The show just came out 2 weeks ago on HBO, and I did start it. I am very up on it. I love it. I'm super excited about it. It looks beautiful. It looks there are a couple. I feel like the Mrs. Coulter character is not how I pictured her, although I feel like Nicole Kidman was like the perfect casting for that. But everything else, like the sets, the just the feel of it all is totally exactly how I feel when I'm reading it. So I'm thoroughly impressed so far. We'll see how the rest of it goes. There is one thing that I'm questioning that happened in the last episode, but overall, I really love it so far and highly recommend it. So the rest of these questions I will save for next time and will for sure answer them. And I really appreciate all of you showing up. Thank you so much for coming and for contributing and chatting with me and asking questions. And my follow-up will be to type out the blonde brownies recipe for you. And Sam, you can try it out and let me know how it goes. Or let me know if you have questions. Like while you're baking it, I can answer any of your questions about that recipe specifically because I've done it so many times. And I will post a link to those ginger chip sparkle cookies that I talked about. And I will find a link just to show you what that one recipe book is, because also highly recommended. All right. Thank you guys so much. This has been really fun. And I will see you on Patreon, and I will see you hopefully next month for the next chat. Have a good rest of your day and a great weekend. Bye-bye.